Okay, like I promised, we have the Losi 1/24th scale short course truck brushed with the 27 megahertz right here and its transmitter. And we have the brushless version, 2.4 gigahertz right here. This one's actually a little lighter. Yeah. Spectrum transmitter for the 2.4 gigahertz. Transmitter for the 27 with takes eight AA batteries compared to 4. Big ass difference. This is pretty much a performance video. I'm going to put them side by side and take off the body clips so you can actually see that underneath they look pretty much identical. This tube right here that I have sticking up, I actually had a Fly Sky receiver that I got that came with this, I guess, to hold up, but it's 2.4 gigahertz, so you really don't need the tube to hold it up. I mean, it'll catch it, but with the 27 megahertz, it is very glitchy, which you will see coming up in just a second. That's the inside of the brushed. Let's go to the brushless. Now, the big difference here is the servo is stronger. The receiver and the ESC is different, but they're built in together. It's 2.4 gigahertz compared to 27. And you can actually see this one, instead of having a crystal like the 27 megahertz, just has a bind button to bind it to the spectrum. This one has an actual crystal along with the transmitter that has the same exact crystal to stay on the same wavelength. That is something that I really do not like. You will see how glitchy it is. This has a slightly bigger hump because the 2.4 gigahertz board is a little bit bigger than the 27 megahertz. You can see that the 2.4 gigahertz antenna is basically tucked inside because it doesn't matter where it's at, it's going to get signal as long as you are close. I got these to play with inside because I have 2 nitros, a brushless electric. I mean, I have several things, like just sitting right here, I have my Hobby Zone Delta Ray plane with the upgraded Extreme 180 motors. Over there I have the Traxxas 3.3 with the Traxxas Link that gives you telemetry back. That's the newest one that they have out. So let's get to the actual performance part. But I mean, you can see I got these to play with inside. I mean, I wanted to play with something to play with inside. So when I was at my local hobby store, I saw this little brushed one and I was like, you know what, I'll give this thing a try. And I did not know when I got it that it was 27 megahertz, and I didn't know what kind of problems, once I did get it home, that I would have with 27 megahertz. But it is an absolute ass. These body pins are very small. They are very difficult to get in. So excuse me while I try to wiggle these little bastards in. And first we are going to do a speed run and show you the speed difference between the brushed and the brushless. One of the biggest things is when you spin the tires on the brush compared to the brushless, there is a lot more friction that you encounter when trying to spin the tires. Oh my god, these things are a pain in the ass. Okay. So we've got the 27 megahertz put back together. Always turn your transmitter on first. Now I'm going to leave the antenna down in compact mode first, so that's what you would think you would want to leave it on inside, right? Turn it on. And after we do the actual racing, I'm going to point out one or two last things. Not racing, but showing you how fast they go. So it's on. That's as fast as it goes. It gets that far, no transmission, no signal. So you have to put out this large ass antenna indoors. Okay, let's go for a straight line. That's it for that's the brushed. And you saw how glitchy it was. I mean, I'm not getting any problems right now because I do have the antenna up. But if you have the antenna down and you try to go too far, you have to get it up into the air. Megahertz is more for things up in the air to get very long distances. That's what megahertz is for. That's what I've read. I don't know because I mainly fly quadcopters. I do have this one plane that I goof around with, but I like quadcopters, helicopters, things like that. So that was the brushed version. The main difference between the brushed and the brushless is, of course, the motor. You have a brushless dynamite motor, 7810 kV. So for every volt, you get 7,810 revolutions. And a lot of people who got the very first brushless ones or did the conversion, they didn't have lipo. They just stuck with the nickel metal hydride battery that they have, which is only 4.8 volts. Well, that really doesn't give the ESC much power. I'm sorry, these body pins are very difficult to get in. Make sure I didn't damage anything. Damn. Let's get back to that one. Okay, that was the left rear. Right rear. These are actually opposing body clips, so they are mirrored. I guess that's more aesthetically pleasing. To me, it really doesn't matter, but I still do put them in like they were. The front ones are the hardest to get in because there's not a lot of extra play. You only, with the back ones, you have 2 holes that you can get it in. With the front ones, you only have 1. And it's not very easy. Okay. Now, we have everything shut off on the 27 brushed. And here we go with the 22.4 gigahertz. Always turn your transmitter on first. Turn your car on. The big differences, like I said, motor, ESC and receiver, which are built into two, and the servo. The servo with the brushless is actually more powerful and faster. So here's a straight line run with the brushless. As you can see, it just flipped over because it's so fast. We're going to do a straight line run from there all the way to the end. But you can just straight up see the brushless is faster, no doubt. One of the reasons this is faster, one of the big reasons, and I'm going to have to get up to the camera for this. The battery that comes in the brushless version is nothing but a 4.8 volt nickel metal hydride pack. Nothing all that special. So, I mean, as you can see, as you see in just a sec, the chassis are basically exactly the same. Let me remove that so you can see it upside down. But with this, all you have to do is remove that little clip, and the charging kit actually comes with an extension cable where you can just, instead of having to take the battery out of the car, you can just plug it in right there, and it's actually molded to fit that little hole with a little triangle to make sure you don't go backwards. And you can charge it without having to take this off, but I'm actually going to take it off to show you the battery. It is a 10C discharge, but can recharge at a 15C rate or 1.5 amps. It's 2-cell, 7.4 volts, but on the top of this it says it can go from, I believe it's 4.8 to, I know it can go all the way up. I know for a fact it says all the way up to 11.1. So you can run a 3-cell in this and get even more speed and do it safely without damaging the ESC. You may overheat some things, but most of these come with a heat protection that if it gets too hot, it will automatically shut itself down. But those are the main differences, and both of them do have servo savers. I don't know if you can see that little spring in there, but if you hit something too hard, basically the arm will move without the servo getting damaged, without the gears getting damaged. You have your Nerf bars on the side. I mean, as you can see, this one, everything is a lot looser. I mean, you can't feel it like I can, but this one compared to this one, everything's a lot tighter on this one. All the suspension is completely adjustable. It does have fluid-filled shocks, which, hell, I'm sure it only has about 1 milliliter of fluid in them. But they are aluminum or metal. I'm not sure if they're aluminum or not. And they do have threaded bodies. And you can jack it way up like I have mine and stiffen up the springs like I have mine. That's what I have mine set up for. I guess I should have it set down low, seeing that I don't do anything off-road, but I mean, these are trucks. They're meant to sit up high. So that's some of the major pros and cons between the brushed and the brushless. The brushed has more torque off the line, but the brushless, once it gets up to speed, is going to blow the brushless away. This one is better for crawling. Like if you're using it as like a rock crawler or something, a mini rock crawler, this is what you're going to want to go with. But if you're going to want to go with outright speed, you're going to want to go with the brushless. The actual gearing is done in a way to take advantage of the 7,810 revolutions per minute per volt. So all you gotta do is take 7,810 and multiply it by 7.4, and you will get the maximum RPM of that motor, and that will show you how fast it goes. And then you have to account the pinion and spur gear, and then the differentials, and then you can find out your final drive ratio and all that. But overall, they are very fun trucks to have. For starters, I would definitely say go with the 27 megahertz. I mean, yes, the brushless is more fun, it's faster, but it's also $100 more. And I guess that's mainly because of the brushless kit, and you do get a 2-channel Spectrum radio. So if in the future you ever get another vehicle, all you have to do is get a Spectrum 3-channel receiver, and you'll have a radio that can power it. Instead of always having to get a ready to run, you can just get a bind and run. But that's basically it for this video. Like usual, if you have any questions, down below, just in the comment, ask away, and I will do my best to answer them. One thing I forgot to mention, the tie rods, I think, are a little horrible. They're clear plastic or Lexan or something. I'm not exactly sure, but that definitely could be done a little better. Usually small micros like this don't have proportional steering, but thankfully these actually have proportional steering. Proportional steering actually means you can actually turn the wheel a little bit or a lot. I have another micro, which is a 1/36 scale buggy, which does not have proportional steering. It's either lock to lock, that's all you have, but it does have proportional throttle and reverse. So, and that's basically it for the two. They're very fun. $174.99 through Hobby Zone for this one. $79.99 for this. Well, $74.99 for this one, or $79.99. So I mean, yeah, you're gonna pay more, but you're gonna have a lot more fun with the brushless. It is lighter than this one. I mean, this one is heavier. I guess that would also explain why there's less speed. It does have actual functioning bead locks, which I think's funny as hell, because I guess with the brushed one it will matter because it does put out some torque, but this one doesn't put out much torque. This one just has a very high speed. So, but other than that, everything is the same except for the battery cover. So, like usual, if you have any questions, in the comment section down below. And like usual, until next time, peace.